Hey guys, Travis from JY. So today we are going to be doing a comparison of pretty much any of these cheap cylindrical caps that you see with voltmeter on top. Doesn't matter if you spent 40 bucks on it or $200 on it. We are going to be testing pulse power, continuous discharge, and capacity. We're going to compare that to our NXT-2KF and showing the difference between what they call 2,500 watts and what we say you need to add in to help with 2,500 watts. So it should be pretty interesting. I think we're going to see a little bit more than a 10 times value, even though the NXT is about 10 times more than this specific module. But stick around, it's going to be interesting. All right, so here is our test of the Soundbox 2.5 farad digital capacitor. We've got voltage here, we've got amperage here. We're only gonna be charging it up to 16 volts because there's a bleeder circuit in here of about 2 amps. So that kind of skews the test results. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and turn our 10 amp power supply on. If this thing has a decent amount of capacity, it's gonna take some time to charge up. If not, it's just gonna shoot right up to the charge voltage. So we'll see that in a second. So we are already to 16 volts and we have a staggering half amp pulling through. We're reading about 0.7 on our meter down here. So instantly to 16 volts, meaning there's little to no capacitance here. So we'll go ahead and shut that off. Let's just watch how fast that drops. Instantly, there's no load on this right now either. It's just falling like a rock because there is no real capacitance here. There's this honestly even makes it kind of hard to test because we have to keep the power supply hooked up and turn that guy on. So we're already at 9 volts and we've already charged it up and discharged it in this 1:30 video. So we're gonna go ahead and set up the capacitance test and we will do that next. Up next is probably gonna be a 2-in-1 test because I don't think we're actually gonna be able to measure how little of capacity is here since this self drains itself. So we are currently at 16 volts. We're gonna go ahead, we got 10 amps on the power supply, but we're gonna go ahead and try and pulse about 20 amps out of there and see how that does. And it's already down. So we'll go ahead and put our min max on here again. This is literally seconds. You see everything kind of blink out. And we pulled a maximum of 4 amps. That might be affecting that. Let's do that one more time. Oh, 13 amps. 13 amps at, let's check our minimum voltage here. So, I'll reset you. All right. We saw 7.2 volts on a 13 amp load. Now keep in mind, we're also feeding this with 10 amps. So that is only a 3 amp load. We are talking that this provides literally about 40 watts worth of pulse power. A handful of farads is not going to do anything for your system. This is a expensive, cheap voltmeter. You can get this voltmeter on Amazon, like a 3-pack for $10 prime next day to your door. Don't buy products like this. Up next, we're going to show what the NXT does and how it compares to, well, I guess this. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and run this test a little differently than the other one. We're not going to go ahead and charge up to 16 volts because none of our customers charge that high. So we're going to go ahead and turn the power supply off, disconnect that, so there's no questions about what all is hooked up here. We've got a 2-gauge line running to our dummy load tester.
Nothing hooked up to that unless we're getting real fancy under the table or something, but nothing's hooked up under there. We're just hooked up directly to the NXT. So we have voltage to the left, we have amperage to the right. Make sure we're not on max or min. All right. So we'll go for 60 amp pole. Oh, there's 80, there's 56. We'll let that run. And there's 15 seconds. And we're almost under 13, so we'll call it there. So we bounce back to 14.4-ish. Then we'll go ahead and do some quick pulses. I'm hitting it pretty hard there, but nothing is showing. Ah, there we are. Haha, 186 amps. That's a little bit more than rated. And we hit it about 3 times before we saw 11. So that's cool. So go ahead and reset this to minimum. And we'll reset you. A bit past rated, 2 times rated. And this is why the NXT works so well, because even at 2 times rated and not being fully charged, it does what it says it's going to do. The main thing this is supposed to do for your system is slow down how long it takes for you to get from your charge voltage down to wherever the battery is going to operate, and then slowly come back up. This eliminates any light dimming or anything like that, where this has been providing, that's, what is that? About 1400 watts to 40 watts. Massive difference. I'll go ahead and add up, do the math for y'all, and figure out like what we have, and then as a difference, not only product to product, but price compared. So I'll go ahead and stick those somewhere in here. And yeah, so thank you guys for watching. I know this is kind of long and drawn out and it can be boring, but capacitors can work. And most of your reputable car audio companies that are using EDLCs, so Maxwell's, Ioxis's, and the like, those are a much different product. There's 500 farads there, not 2.5. So we would not compare those products to these. We wouldn't even compare it to the NXTs because they're used in a slightly different way. So I hope you guys found this helpful. And if anything, I don't expect a lot of you to jump from a $40 product to a $400 product, but please, for sweet baby Jesus, save your money. Don't buy this thing. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk.
Hey, so you guys made it to the end of the video. So you're probably one of my battery nerds. So let's go ahead and do a quick test breakdown and see how the raw numbers of the 2KF compare to the digital capacitor. The 2KF is the only one to pass the continuous test, doing 65 amps over 20 seconds for a 1.8 volt drop. The pulse test, the NXT was able to do 120 amps over 8 seconds for a 2.5 volt drop. In comparison, the 2.5 farad digital capacitor did, to the best of what I can tell in Adobe, is 3 amps for 0.5 seconds with an 8.8 volt drop. So move down to the next line. We're going to look at the capacity. Obviously 2.5 is about 0.1%. So you're getting 1/10 of 1% of the storage capacity you are compared to the NXT, and the NXT only being 10 times more. Quite obviously, that's pretty lopsided on the NXT. But it gets even worse when we start to look at dollar per farad, and yeah, that's an 820 times difference in how much you're paying per farad. And then this is the new value calculation that I had to come up with, because saying that using the dollar per watt that we normally have that because our customers are able to do that hooked up to a power source for 30 to 90 minutes plus. A lot of times, if you have sufficient charging and the music you're playing isn't chopped and screwed and just basically bass lines laid over music, you can do it indefinitely. Just of the way that they pull off of the alternator to recharge. So we'll be covering that more in tomorrow's video. So, or live stream, excuse me. So, but we had to come up with the watt second, and that is just as it seems. It's dollars divided by watts times seconds. And we went off the pulse numbers for this, and you're paying about 3 cents per watt second for the NXT, and you are paying a staggering $2.29 with the digital capacitor comparison. So that is a 745 times difference. I don't think anybody expected this to go much different, but the NXT absolutely stomps a mud hole in this quote unquote digital capacitor. So thanks for watching, guys, again. And if you stuck around for the test breakdown, you're awesome. Thanks.